What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean Peter Blunt guy. Hey! And we are back again with another One Piece reaction. And today we will be reacting to Arthur, Library of Ohara. A massive reveal about devil fruits was lost in translation. Now, before we get into the video, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the theory, your thoughts on the reaction. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know down in the comments. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can engage with me in real time. You can catch me live. And if you want to connect with me one on one, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or and join the Discord, because that's usually the most where I'm the most active. That's the best place to engage with me. The Discord. Also, it's the best place if you want to send me content to react to. If you're a One Piece content creator, you want me to you want to hear my opinion on something, make sure you are a part of the Discord and send me your stuff in my submission folder. Also, if you want to be part of a future discussion stream, the Discord is going to be the best place to be. And the link to this video will also be in the description box, as well as all my other stuff, my Twitter, my Twitch, Discord, Facebook, all that stuff. So description box. Hit that description box up right now. Hit it up. Hit it up. Anyway, let's get into this video. According to Arthur, Library of Ohara, there has been a massive reveal about devil fruits that was lost in translation. You know, I'm assuming we could be talking about the most recent chapter 1069, if I remember correctly, where we learn about desire and hope being what drove the creation of the devil fruits. We don't really know how. Like, Vegapunk didn't really flesh it out or go into any detail of how desire or hope creates devil fruits. He was very cryptic in what he was saying. Like, it wasn't nothing clear and concise on giving us the origin of devil fruits, right? It was just like, oh well, they say people want things, and out of wanting something, things come from it. So devil fruits, it was very cryptic. He didn't give us nothing clear and concise on the creation of devil fruits. I don't know if it's because he doesn't fully know how devil fruits came to be, or if he was just kind of setting up for a real explanation to the origin of devil fruits. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe Vegapunk don't fully know the full origins of devil fruits. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But I don't know. Maybe this next chapter, or one of the next chapters, or one of the future chapters, upcoming chapters, maybe Vegapunk gives us a full-on, detailed explanation on how devil fruits came into existence. But until that, I'm kind of thinking we might get some type of explanation like that, of that level, when we maybe meet Eam, possibly. Like, maybe more so at the end, when we meet somebody who, like, let's say if Eam been around since the Void Century in the Ancient Kingdom, maybe Eam knows. Maybe Eam is the only person in existence, and possibly the Gorosei as well. Like, maybe Eam and the Gorosei are the only people in existence today that know the origins of the devil fruit. And maybe we don't get an explanation until we start getting into dealing with the Gorosei and Eam. So that's a possibility we gotta kind of accept, right? This whole time, I know a lot of people was believing that Vegapunk was going to be that guy to tell us how devil fruits came to be, but maybe he's not. Maybe he only has a hypothesis on how devil fruits came to be, because he didn't exist at that time, so we can't expect him to know something he didn't exist. Like we can't expect him to know something about something that happened during the time he didn't exist, right? Because he has all this stuff of, like, he's been trying to reverse engineer all this stuff from the Void Century and the Ancient Kingdom, but he hasn't been able to do it. At least for some of the technology. Maybe some technology he has been able to, but a lot of technology he hasn't been able to, you know? So it's clear that there's, like, Vegapunk has his limitations on what he knows and what he can replicate from the Void Century. Like, if he knew everything, he might be able to replicate these things to a T. But the fact that he haven't been able to replicate it completely, you know, replicate Void Century technology completely, it just shows me maybe he's missing some pieces to the puzzles, right? So, you know, but I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into this Arthur video, because maybe he caught something that I missed. You know what I mean? But let's get into it.
Ichiro Oda said that when we would meet Dr. Vegapunk, he would finally tell us the truth of what devil fruits really are, and 15 years later, that moment is right now. However, the wording that Vegapunk uses in Japanese is so specific that a lot of its meaning got lost in translation, to the point that I've seen many people not even understanding the real meaning of what was said, or missing such details such as, for example, Vegapunk using the exact same words that Roger used during his execution. So allow me to give you a complete breakdown of the original Japanese version, so you can properly understand the truth of what devil fruits really are. So allow me to illustrate this by translating as literally as I can from Japanese so that nothing gets lost in translation. When Awakened Luffy enters in battle with Awakened Lucci...
Okay, so I think I know why I'm reacting to this video, right? I think during a discussion, somebody pointed out that what Vegapunk said, a lot of people were misinterpreting. You know, one of my viewers pointed out that we were misinterpreting what Vegapunk said, because I was talking about how desire and hope, because I think in the scans it said desire, right? Desire creates devil fruit, or it was the title of the chapter was something about desire, and in the official it was, the word desire was changed to hope, you know. So I think we was talking about that, and somebody pointed out, like, a lot of people was taking it too literal as far as desire being how you manifest devil fruit abilities. And so I think that's why we're watching this video, because it was, you know, supposedly Arthur clears things up. So let's get into it.
Vegapunk's dialogue comments on how Luffy's form resembles that of the sun god Nika depicted in ancient scriptures. Nami then, however, says that she's never heard of the name Nika before, but Vegapunk then replies, "No wonder, that's a name that was erased from history. However, as long as people continue to wish for him, his existence cannot be erased. All things that are dreamed of are born upon this world." Now, the key word here is dream/wish, which in Japanese is nozomi. As you likely might have heard, there are many words in Japanese that can't be translated literally to English, as it embodies a concept that can be represented through several different words in English. Particularly, it refers to what we could call wishing, hoping, or dreaming, though in the latter's case, it's dreaming in the sense of hoping for something to happen, not dreaming of sleep. Nozomi represents a concept of hoping for something to happen, of people's dreams. So essentially what Vegapunk is saying here is that even if the government has erased information about Nika, and people no longer know of the ancient character that Nika is anymore, people will still wish and dream for someone like him to exist as long as they remain oppressed. Because people are always wishing and dreaming of freedom, so even if they don't know Nika, they still wish they had someone like him in their lives. We all kinda do, it's human nature, and as long as we keep searching the answer of freedom, the existence of people like Luffy will never cease to be. Does that sound familiar? Because it should. As you may have noticed, this expression is framed with almost identical wording to one of the most important quotes in the series.
受け継がれゆく意志、時代のうねり、人の夢。人々が自由の答えを求める限り、それらは決してとどまることはない。
Similarly, as long as people keep dreaming of Nika, his existence will never be erased. Because much like inherited will, people's dreams, and the swell of an era, these are things that will never cease to be as long as people long for freedom. And as long as people keep wishing for someone to be able to liberate the world, then someone will eventually rise to the occasion to make these things a reality. After all, Luffy embodies all of those things. He is inherited will, for he represents the inheriting of the original Joy Boy's will and dreams.
Okay, so Nika exists because of the dreams of the people, right? It kind of reminds me of like this idea, right? It kind of reminds me of Freddy Krueger. I know I'm kind of going off I'm going off something completely off topic a little bit. Not completely off topic. It's on topic, but completely away from One Piece, right? Freddy Krueger, Nightmare of Elm Street. If you guys are familiar with horror movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger is probably one of the biggest horror movie monsters of all times. You know, he's been around since I want to say the 80s. You know, that's when I think he came about, the 80s, like around Jason and Michael Myers, right? But if you guys ever watched the movie Jason versus Freddy, right? That was a collab where we got two of the biggest monster horror movie stars of their times, and even of just the genre in general. Like Jason and Freddy are two of the biggest, and Michael Myers are 3. You could probably add Chucky for 4, and you know there's some others that you could say are very iconic as well. But those are probably the biggest horror movie characters ever, right? And in Jason versus Freddy, there was this idea that Freddy exists as long as people fear him, right? That's pretty much the premise of the movie. Like Freddy, people forgot about Freddy, and therefore he became weak. He wasn't able to affect nobody. He wasn't able to do what he does because everybody forgot about him. People didn't fear him anymore, so he was just pretty much ineffective. So he pretty much interacts with Jason. Like he goes to Jason's dreams and then somehow manipulates Jason into going to Elm Street, his territory, and killing people, so people could start thinking Freddy Krueger is back and he can pretty much exist again. He can pretty much do his damage, and it works. It works to a degree, but then Jason is just killing too many people, and Freddy doesn't like that, and that's why they end up clashing. But it kind of makes me think of that idea where someone exists as long as you remember them. And it also feeds into that quote that Dr. Kerlok says, right? Where he says, people, you exist as long as people remember you. You know what I mean? So I wonder if he's going to bring that part up. Someone existing as long as he's remembered, you pretty much always existing. You know what I mean? And it speaks to Zebek, right? Zebek was forgotten. Zebek has been purposely forgotten among the people. And so you kind of say he doesn't exist no more. But does he? because if he is living within Blackbeard, he could still be existing technically.
He represents people's dreams because people dreamed and wished for him, so as long as people continue to dream, then those dreams will never end and continue being born upon this world. And he represents the swell of an era, which, as Law explained during his iconic speech in Punk Hazard, represents the unstoppable force with how a certain someone will one day arise to bring in.
It made me think, man. I wonder how much Dr. Karaluk knew about Joy Boy. You know, because I think he was the first person we heard him say, like, hey, as long as you're remembered, you will never die, right? And it kind of reminds me of what Arthur is talking about right now. Like, as long as people desire Joy Boy, you know, he will always exist. As long as people remember him, you know, in order to desire somebody, you have to remember that person. So it just kind of takes me back to what Dr. Karaluk say. You know,
in a new era, the Shinjidai, and how that era will bring a change to the world. In that regard, Nika himself, or rather Luffy, is the answer of freedom that Roger spoke of, what people have been seeking for all these centuries, the answer to all the injustices of the world, and someone who can bring liberation, who can bring freedom to all in the world. So as long as people seek the answer of freedom and keep wishing for someone like him to arise, even if they've forgotten the original Nika character, he will still come and deliver joy and laughter to all in the world. However, what about that second expression, which also serves as the title of the chapter? Well, it tries to convey a similar idea. All things that are dreamed of are born upon this world. So essentially, as long as people wish hard enough or dream hard enough for something,
he said something. He said, even if people forget Nika will still exist long as they wish for freedom. So it does kind of go against what Dr. Karaluk said, because he said something about, or Haraluk, he said something about, as long as you're remembered, you won't really die. But, you know, but it's still, I don't think it's necessarily not related, though. I still think what Dr. Haraluk said and what he's saying is still connected. Like, Joy Boy doesn't have to be remembered in order to continue to exist. It's just people have to want, you know, because at the end of the day, Joy Boy, you know, he's not like a normal person. He's a god, you know. So maybe the fact that people want freedom, that is enough for him to continue to exist, because it's the freedom aspect. And Joy Boy exists. Joy Boy exists off the need, the desire, and the hope of freedom. You know, that's how Joy Boy continues to exist. The desire and the hope of freedom, where everybody else exists long as people remember him. You know, it's a cold world out there.
something to happen, it can become a reality. Now, it's very important not to misunderstand this as simply wishing for something automatically makes it a reality. I've seen some people interpret these words very, very literally, but in Japanese, Vegapunk isn't confirming this, but simply stating that people wishing and dreaming about these things eventually led to them becoming a reality, that their wishes to be liberated led to the appearance of Nika, and their wishes to evolve further led to the creation of Devil Fruits. How that creation happened is not clarified here, and neither is the factor if he's
I kind of have my idea on that, right? Because way before this chapter, you know, I've done a lot of discussions. I talked to Eliz, you know, like I always say Eliz, but I say Eliz because I think he's a great reference for some of my points. And Eliz has a Understanding Hockey series where he talks about hockey and everything, and we discussed that before. An idea that we talked about is hockey being able to create devil fruit abilities, right? Hockey, you know, what is hockey though? It's your will, right? Your will. What drives your will? Desire, hope, right? Like Luffy desires to be the Pirate King, right? So his will is pushed by that desire to become Pirate King. You know, his will is so strong. Like his desire to become Pirate King is so strong that it created a almost a ironclad will within Luffy. And because of that will, he has strong haki. Because he has a strong will, he has strong haki. You know, it's you could say it's inherited will as well, but it doesn't change the level of how strong his will is. And that will of his will eventually get him to be Pirate King because he desires it. He desires it so bad that he will it into existence. Will, you know, who else has a strong will? Zoro. Zoro has a strong will, and he also has strong haki. And even before he manifested like what we know of haki today, he was able to create a Ashura mode, like Ashura form, you know, an Ashura form where he has like 3 heads, 6 legs, 6 arms. And if you think about it, that's kind of like a devil fruit ability. So I think actual abilities themselves come from haki. You know, I think they come from haki, and devil fruits probably came from people who manifested these abilities with haki. You know, now how they were transforming the devil fruits, I don't necessarily know. But I think when I look at desire, I look at desire, hope, I look at will as well. And when I look at will, I look at haki. So I think back in the day, people in the Void Century or the Ancient Kingdom, they desired something so much, right, that they had strong wills, and they were able to, and they also had strong haki because of these strong wills, because of the strong desire that they had. So they were able to create abilities. They were able to manifest these abilities, and then eventually they were turned into devil fruits. How? I don't know. But I think the abilities come from their haki, which come from their desire and their will, you know, and then they were eventually transformed into devil fruits.
Speaking quite literally or just philosophically, maybe he could be saying that these things were literally magically born out of people's dreams, but it could also just mean that people's dreams led them to make these things a reality themselves, to make their dreams come true. I spoke with Japanese readers to get their impressions on, and we all agreed that the way the wording came off in Japanese was more philosophical than it was meant to be literal, particularly with how Vegapunk talks about the devil fruits from a purely scientific point of evolution, being a scientist himself and having even been able to replicate fruits through the application of science, so I suggest to not take his words too literally, or at least not take them as a canonical fact until it is more properly clarified, which I'm sure we'll understand better soon enough anyway. But essentially what Vegapunk's saying comes across as Japanese is that anything you can dream of can become true, that anything is possible if you dream and wish hard enough about it, and that things do come true because we wish for them. It essentially embodies the concept of the limitless potential that this world has for what can be possible. After all, in the end, Vegapunk says that the world is so fun and wondrous because it allows for this limitless potential, so there is no need to wonder if gods really exist or not. There is no need to believe in gods or magic because the world itself already makes these possibilities a reality, because this was also already mentioned in the story under different wording. Any event that people can dream of is a possible reality. This quote is massively important, as it sets up the importance of people's dreams and what they can achieve, which again conveys the similar meaning that this world is so incredible that the sky really is the limit, and that it is never too small to contain our dreams to make them a reality. Also, on a small side note, the terminology all things in this expression is exactly the same in Japanese as the voice of all things, which means that while it could possibly just be similar wording, the two could also potentially be related, but I'm sure we'll understand that better soon enough. Really though, let's break—
You know some? We also talked a lot about how the voice of all things is a level of haki, right? It's like maybe observation haki mixed with conqueror's haki, but we, you know, me and Elis talk a lot about voice of all things being connected with haki. You know what I'm saying? Cause like your voice, right? Like Luffy projected his voice in Wano, right? And people were able to pick it up. People were able to like hear it. And I think when he projected, you don't necessarily have to have hockey to pick it up. But if you want to hear something that has a voice, you have to have like a level of observation hockey in order, unless it projects it to allow you to listen to it, then you probably won't hear it. But if kind of like Luffy, he projected his voice to Law's crew. Now we don't know if they have hockey or not, but the fact that he purposely projected, most likely using, I would say, Conqueror's hockey, because I look at Conqueror's hockey as like you projecting, right? Like observation to me is hockey that it's like you're receiving a signal, where Conqueror's hockey to me is more of like you're projecting the signal. You know what I mean? Like, cause you're projecting your will, you know what I mean? To make people pass out. You're projecting your will so people can hear your voice, or they can hear your will, you know?
Break down in more detail what Vegapunk reveals about the truth of what Devil Fruits are, because he says that the saying of all things that are wished for are born upon this world can also apply to the existence of Devil Fruits. He believes that Devil Fruits embody the wishes of people wanting to become one thing or something other. For example, have you never wished that you could fly? Then the Devil Fruit that turns you into a falcon makes that a reality. Have you ever wished that you could create fire yourself without the need of a tool? Then a Devil Fruit that turns you into fire makes that a reality. Have you ever wished you could just sprout more hands to manage more tasks, that you could have silky smooth skin, or that you were a man instead of a woman? In fact, Oda described this very concept in an interview with China Times back in 2014, where he explained that his idea behind creating Devil Fruits arose from the wishes that people would have, such as wanting to have smooth skin or wanting to have multiple hands. So he, much like the people of the One Piece world, created these fruits from wanting to fulfill certain wishes. As Vegapunk puts it, Devil Fruits are actually the possibilities of mankind's evolution that someone once dreamed and wished for, and that Devil Fruit abilities are in actuality the many ways the future of the hominid genus could evolve. So essentially what Vegapunk is saying is that Devil Fruits are the tools that unlock human evolution, the many ways in which the hominid genus could potentially evolve, which is reflected in the different abilities of each fruit. Each of them allows someone's body to evolve to the point where they have powers that most without the futuristic knowledge would simply see as supernatural. For example, if a human would evolve to develop feathers and become like a falcon, then that's what Pal's fruit makes possible. Or if the ability to generate body warmth evolved to the point that it could become fire itself, you would have Ace's fruit. With the limitless potential of this world and of science, we can reach a level of evolution that would otherwise take millions of years to reach. This is likely the reason why so many characters in the story introduce their abilities by saying that they are an ability human. A barrier human, an art human, a paw human, a blade human. This has always been used across the entire series, and now it makes sense because all of them are evolved humans who specialize in one specific category.
Yeah, I don't think I've really noticed. I didn't even notice that. Like, they call themselves like a sword human, a art human. You know, like their ability mixed with them being human. You know, but yeah, I like that idea of, and that's what I believe. I think the Ancient Kingdom were able to use hockey in order to evolve themselves as humans, right? I believe they were. I believe they evolved. Like, I believe they found a way to evolve, and that was through hockey. I believe hockey explains a lot of this stuff. I believe hockey explains most of this, you know?
Actually saw this being told of us in the story by, I'm not joking, Foxy. Foxy explained that his fruit allowed him to emit a thing called neuroparticles, which are a type of particle that modern scientists have not yet discovered, meaning it is a technology that was lost to time and was likely understood by scientists of the past, but that current scientists do not yet understand. And when Luffy questioned this not being possible, Foxy simply said that everything is possible in this world. The thing is, though, all of this is technically Not new information. As far back as Punk Hazard, we were actually told that the truth of Devil Fruits relates to an application of the Bloodline elements, and as Yonji explained in Whole Cake Island, the Bloodline elements are the DNA of the One Piece world, the genetic code that allows for the evolution of all species. And Oda even said that artificial Zoan Devil Fruits are created by sampling the Bloodline elements of animals, so we were already told that Devil Fruits are things that affect the genetic code related to evolution, which is what Vegapunk is essentially saying here, just much more clearly now. Eating a fruit provides your body with new genetic code that allows you to evolve your body to a whole new extent, attaining abilities that, despite very much being real science, they are science we do not yet understand with our...
Yeah, we definitely been getting into like the bloodline element lately, right? Like especially now that we got Vegapunk. We know the Seraphim. I guess they have like this green liquid stuff, which is like the bloodline element, like they have that in them, right? Which is possibly responsible for how fast they grow and how fast they learn. I'm assuming, they took it's part of the DNA. I'm assuming bloodline element might be like DNA, might be like manipulated DNA or something. Have something to do. I don't know. That's weird. That's I'm not too sure if it's like DNA or if it's something where they infuse DNA into it. But yeah, we know that the Seraphim definitely use the bloodline element, right? That's how they grow, that's how they learn, that's how they improve, evolve, I guess you can say. So yeah. I hope Vegapunk does give us a little more information on this bloodline element, though. If he doesn't give us enough about the devil fruit, I hope he goes into more depth about the bloodline element.
Current knowledge of it, which leads many to see them as supernatural abilities. This would make perfect sense, since Vegapunk already explained how the Ancient Kingdom possessed technology so incredible that it is beyond the common scientific understanding of the present, and since Devil Fruits are very much the same, then it's highly likely that the Ancient Kingdom was involved in creating these fruits with their advanced technology and their advanced understanding of the bloodline elements and the genetic code. Really, what Vegapunk said can be said of any of humanity's inventions. After all, necessity is the mother of all inventions, so these wishes could have led to people creating the Devil Fruits. However, of course, that's only implied, as once again, it's important to clarify that in the Japanese version, Vegapunk does not specify anything about how these wishes led the fruits to be, so we can only speculate for now. Vegapunk elaborates on this by saying that Devil Fruit ability users are essentially beings living on several whole other dimensions, all once pictured in someone's mind. Now, there's quite a few keywords here. First, Vegapunk mentions someone, just like he did in his previous line, which in Japanese in this case is intended as a singular term. He could just be...
Yeah, I never caught that. Like, Devil Fruit's abilities are not... Hold on, let me... Beings living on several whole other dimensions all once...
Now, there's quite a few keywords here. First, Vegapunk mentions someone, just like he did in his previous line, which in Japanese in this case is intended as a singular term. He could just be speaking broadly about everyone's individual wishes, but...
Eam? Possibly? Eam? Could this be Eam's doing? Right? Like, that's someone's mind. Are we talking Eam possibly? Joy Boy, I'll probably take Eam though. Maybe Eam is the master of the Devil Fruits.
It makes me wonder if he is actually referring to one specific person who pioneered this scientific research and first created the Devil Fruits. Could that perhaps maybe be the titular devil who came to be known by this name to being the origin of these Devil Fruits? After all, in his One Piece film Red commentary last month, Oda commented how the Devil King's origin is related to the origin of Devil Fruits, citing how the Devil King came to be from the fears and doubts of people, even confirming the Devil King as canon. Robin described the Devil King as the embodied aggregation.
The Devil King. I gotta look that up because I didn't see that. No, I think he says in film Red. So, yeah, the Devil King. And he, I mean, if Oda mentions him, he has to be canon. You know, if Oda proclaims him to be canon, or treats him as canon, look like the Devil King is canon. But who is the Devil King? You know, could the Devil King be the rival of Joy Boy, possibly? The antithesis of Joy Boy? Could Eam be the Devil King? Is the Devil King related to the D's? So many questions, so little answers.
Of people's thoughts that have been passed down since ancient times. Things like loneliness and pain, the dark sides of people's hearts. In time it came to be known as the Devil King, which sounds a lot like the creation of devil fruits having come from the wishes and dreams of people. So in the same way, the Devil King came to be created from the embodied aggregation of people's negative emotions, loneliness, pain, fear, and doubt. But again, is that literal or is that metaphorical? Was the Devil King literally born of people's emotions, or could the Devil King have been a devil fruit creation which came to be from the negative emotions of people and a desire of revenge, leading to creating a weapon capable of wiping out the whole world rather than bringing it liberation? Could the Devil King maybe even be the original someone who once created the devil fruits for the ancient kingdom, but then had a change of heart as the pain and suffering of his people grew, and decided to create a fruit for themselves to take revenge and destroy the world? Well, I'm just speculating here, so I suppose only time will tell. Anyway, next, the expression Vegapunk uses, Omoie Gaita, translates to pictured in their mind, quite literally using the kanji for drawing, which in this case refers to picturing something, being able to envision it. Again though, it's important to clarify that this does not necessarily indicate that someone imagined these things and then they magically appeared, but rather that because they picture...
Yeah, I want to go off the record. I want to go off and first say, because again, when we was talking about this, someone was saying like, hey, I don't think it was meant like you desire something so the devil fruits were made. I personally don't believe that the people of the ancient kingdom or the void century wanted like they were like, hey, we need something, and then their want or their desire created devil fruits. That's by no means of what I meant. When I say hope created devil fruits, I meant hope in the sense of more connected with will and Haki. That's what I meant. Like, I believe that Haki created devil fruit abilities, which, you know, would eventually create devil fruits. Be it like maybe they turn these people into devil fruits, right? But ultimately, it was Haki that created the abilities, and the Haki that created these abilities derived from desire, like the need to create these abilities. That's pretty much my thoughts on where devil fruits came from and what I got from what Vegapunk said.
Such a possibility, these worlds in their mind, they were able to find a way to make them a reality, whatever that way may be. Interestingly, he also says that devil fruit users are beings who live in several whole other dimensions. These dimensions can also be translated more simply as a whole other level, which could be why the chapter of Luffy's awakening was called Next Level, but I feel like Vegapunk is essentially just trying to transmit how devil fruit users are basically the incarnation of a whole alternate reality of how humans could genetically evolve, which makes them appear to people as supernatural beings. And in fact, this seems to be what propelled the myth of the sea. As Vegapunk claims, by consequence, these supernatural things are said to be hated by the mother of nature itself, the sea, which is why their very existence bears punishment. This is a very interesting piece of lore, but it's important to note that Vegapunk specifies it is said, which means that this is simply the myth that is said about devil fruits, which could have some truth to it, but compared to the scientific breakdown he gave, it has a more mythological aspect to it, what with the mother of nature that he mentions, and he talks about it like a rumor, so it's possible possible that the truth behind the rejection of the sea could go deeper than that. After all, we already know that this is technically partially wrong, as in an SBS, Oda clarified that it is not the sea that paralyzes devil fruit users, but rather any body of water, no matter what, even if it isn't related to the sea. So it isn't necessarily the sea that rejects devil fruit users.
Thank you. Let's read this real quick, because a lot of people get this messed up, right? A lot of people get this whole how water affects devil fruits messed up, especially people who don't watch One Piece, which I'd be like, bro, why are you even talking like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. But, but a lot of One Piece fans, they get it wrong as well, which is the reason why a lot of One Piece people who don't watch One Piece get it wrong, because they're getting wrong secondhand information by One Piece fans who don't even fully understand, right? Because Oda cleared this up. I feel as though I'm always having to explain this to people. But it says, first of all, let's discuss the problem of devil fruit users bathing themselves. People who have eaten a devil fruit are hated by the sea and cannot swim. The sea here can refer to anything from rivers, pools, baths, to any kind of standing water, which is important because rain is not standing water. So rain does not have an effect on devil fruit users. It's running water. On a worldwide level, they are all the sea. So that means a bathtub is treated as the sea. A bathtub, a lake, a pool, whatever. All of these are treated as a sea. So if Luffy was to go dive into a pool of fresh water, it will still affect him. Now it says when these people enter the water, not only can they not use their powers, they have trouble moving their bodies at all. So I think they can't use their abilities because they're being debilitated, right? Like if you're weakened, how can you use an ability if you're being weakened, if your energy is being sapped, right? So because Luffy can still stretch, but he can't. But if like somebody could pull Luffy's head out of the water and stretch him, right? That's what happened in Arlong Park. But he can't stretch himself because he's being the water is affecting him to a point where he can't do nothing, right? They might be continuing on. It says they might be able to struggle a bit, but it wouldn't do much good. That's if their entire bodies are submerged in the sea. So it's being submerged. He continues with less than half the body or just the limbs, it gets easier. So what Oda is saying is how, depending on how much of your body is submerged in the sea, that's how affected you are by the sea, right? Because it says with less than half the body or just the limbs, it gets easier. So the more of your body, it gets harder. The less, it gets easier. Also, rain and dripping water have no effect at all. So this proves the idea that water weakens devil fruit. Just water weakens devil fruit users. I'm not saying water doesn't. I'm saying just if I was to throw water on a devil fruit user, it's not going to do anything. So continue. It says, therefore, hip baths or showers are the most common choice. Now, in Crocodile's case, water is the weakness of his very powers, so his abilities are robbed even in the shower. So it affects Crocodile more so than any other devil fruit because Crocodile's sand abilities are weakened by water. His natural weakness is water. So it's specific to Crocodile. His natural, just like Enel's natural weakness is rubber, Crocodile's natural weakness is water. So it's going to affect him more so. But it's not like there are enemies around when you take a shower. So I'd bet he would take them even with his powers being blocked. And
users, but rather
he says some more stuff. I don't think it really matters, but yeah. I can't see over the text.
the contact with water that makes them lose their powers, something that could be very easily explained in a scientific way as just a chemical or biological reaction to water. But this aspect too is still too murky and undefined to say for sure. What is more interesting here, however, is that the word unnatural could be more literally translated to artificial, which would suggest that the fruits are indeed artificial creations that went beyond the boundaries of what nature allows. This would better explain why Mother Nature hates these fruits, because humanity decided to play at being God and create fruits that broke the natural laws of evolution, so nature fought back in turn, which could once again...
Yeah, I do think the creation of devil fruits is... I think their existence, I believe that they were created. I believe devil fruit abilities, like people were able to create these devil fruit abilities, but at the same time, devil fruits themselves, I think, were created probably from the people who created the abilities.
Suggest that the devil fruits are indeed artificial creations of humanity as a way to materialize their dreams into reality. Truthfully, in this chapter, we ultimately don't find out anything that wasn't already being alluded to in the past in some way, and the real origin of devil fruits and many other aspects of them are yet a mystery, such as how some fruits took on a will of their own, but now we can understand the truth with a lot more clarity as we finally have the confirmation of what devil fruits really are. Tools that grant the ability to evolve the genetic code of living creatures to a point far beyond what they are able to do in the present, being able to reach the full biological potential that this world and science has to offer, because they once dreamed of being able to do things that weren't possible. Now, this next bit is more speculation on my end, but it all makes me wonder if that's specifically what happened with Nika as well. Joy Boy was a real person in ancient times.
Yeah. And the fact that there is a character named Nika, and then there's a devil fruit named Nika. To me, that's probably the biggest evidence I have for my theory on devil fruit, like devil fruits being created from like people back in Ancient Kingdom possibly creating these abilities, right? They used hockey to create these abilities, and then they themselves were turned into devil fruits. That's ultimately that's kind of my theory, is these people in the Ancient Kingdom created these abilities because they had these strong wills and they desired to do certain things such as fly or whatever it was, right? Slow down time, turn into light, whatever, could manipulate gravity. They had these desires, and then in having these desires, they used hockey, right? Because maybe they became super proficient at hockey, right? Maybe they were the most advanced hockey users in history during the Ancient Kingdom, and they used this advanced hockey to create these abilities. And then after they went to world war with the 20 kingdoms, they lost, and then maybe the 20 kingdoms, aka the world government, they turned them into fruits. And then they pretty much desired to have their abilities, so they turned them into fruits and created these fruits, so now they can use these abilities of the Ancient Kingdom. That's my speculation. I'm not saying I'm the only person or I'm the first person to come up with that. I will say that through plenty of discussions that I kind of came to that conclusion myself, but it was like something that me and Elids also came to that conclusion, right? So
times, but by comparison, Nika was a fictional character, with even Vegapunk describing him as a character from ancient scriptures. Joy Boy at one point became Nika through the Devil Fruit, but since it is a mythological Zoan, it means that the creature it is based on never really existed, only being a myth, a story, perhaps even a laugh tale. But this means that Joy Boy dreamed of being like Nika, that he wanted to be just like this fictional character of stories of old, and decided to quite literally embody him through the creation of the Hito Hitonomi model Nika to be able to deliver.
That's actually an interesting take. You know, Joy Boy desired to be this mythological character and therefore became him. It's actually an interesting take.
Joy and laughter to all in the world. Does that mean that... Well, there's a lot to talk about here, so I suppose I'll leave this theory for its own separate video soon enough, but please subscribe so that you don't miss that. I'll talk about this very soon, but for now, I guess the takeaway from all this is that dreams really do become real. Whether that's literal or simply philosophical, anything that we can dream of can become a reality as long as we make it a reality with our very own hands. After all, dreams can always become real because people's dreams...
終わらねえそうだろう
Alright, man. Shout out to Arthur Library of Ohio. Gonna give him a like. But yeah, man, you know, a lot of stuff was said. Kind of told you guys, you know, my theory on, my speculation on devil fruits. Even before, to me, Vegapunk more so validated what I already believed. You know, now he didn't clearly confirm it. I can't say like he confirmed it. You know, I think he validated, you know, because I personally believe devil, like Haki is responsible for the abilities that eventually became these devil fruits. That's what I believe. I believe, you know, people desired something. Maybe they wanted to evolve, have certain abilities, so they used Haki in order to gain these abilities, and then eventually they were turned into devil fruits. That's what I believe, right? Maybe they were buried, you know, in like a cemetery in let's say Elbaf and Marijoa, right? And then these two cemeteries became the Adam and Eve tree that we know today. And then the Adam and Eve tree is where devil fruits came from, right? Like let's say you got these two burial grounds, these two separate burial grounds, cemeteries, with all these people that created these devil fruit abilities through the use of Haki. So they were buried, and then their wills were so strong that they bloomed into these two trees that were creating these devil fruits from these trees. And, you know, the devil fruits fall, they fall, and bam, you know what I mean? They fall, create devil fruits. You know, that's kind of where I think that's a possibility. Or maybe they were just directly turned into devil fruits, right? Like maybe the world government or the 20 kingdoms back in the day created some type of technology to turn them into devil fruits. Either way, my idea is that they were turned into devil fruits somehow, whether it was naturally, unnaturally, whatever. You know what I mean? Probably unnaturally, since devil fruits are unnatural, but that I believe that to be the case. You know, so. Again, this video didn't really change my mind on anything that I already believed. If anything, it just kind of validated what I already believe. You know what I mean? I know he didn't talk about Haki, but I do believe Haki, I think that's kind of the missing key to his theory, you know, Haki. But, you know, that's his theory. Anyway, you know, that's pretty much all I got for this video. You know what I'm saying? Great video. But yeah, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts on the video. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did I miss? Did I miss anything that, you know, that you guys might have came to a conclusion like, am I missing something? Let me know in the comments. Follow me on Twitch so you can engage with me in real time. Help me get them Twitch numbers up as well. Just help me get them Twitch numbers up. Also, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook if you want to connect with me directly. And join the Discord. Join the Discord. That is going to be the best place to interact with me. It is the best place to send me content to react to. I have a channel specifically made for that. And the video that we reacted to today was a video submitted in the Discord. And yeah, all of these will be in the description box below, as well as the link to the video that we reacted to. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all go show Arthur some love. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.